The Plenum Field Conjecture. Start from the obvious but flip it. We often picture the world as things moving through empty space, unfolding in a one-way timeline. This picture quietly carries two assumptions. The void. There are genuine gaps, places where nothing matters. One-way causality. The present is entirely inherited from the past. The Plenum Field Conjecture rejects both assumptions. No voids. Wherever you look, there is structure. It may be dense or diffuse, fast-changing or slow-forming, but it is never truly nothing. There are always constraints, tendencies, and couplings. Call any locally coherent chunk of this fullness a plenum. These plenums are not islands in emptiness, but connected parts of a continuous, saturated field. Two-way pressure. The present is not simply the residue of the past. It is the point where pressures from the past and pressures from possible futures meet and resolve. This means what we observe now is co-shaped by causal histories and by constraints that have not yet fully unfolded. Nested plenums. Plenums are not all the same size or scope. They exist in layers: atomic, biological, cognitive, social, and cosmic. Each plenum is contained within larger plenums and contains smaller ones, with the boundaries defined by local coherence rather than physical edges. This nesting means influence travels in both directions. A small plenum can shift the state of a larger one, and the large can reshape the conditions of the small. Recursive retrocausality is temporal holonomy. In iterative systems, the starting point is not fixed. Each pass changes the boundary conditions for the next. So the loop does not simply stabilize after one cycle. It can amplify, dampen, or morph the causal structure. Recursive retrocausality can be seen as temporal holonomy. You cannot complete the loop without the causal state being transformed, and each iteration compounds that transformation. Containment rather than inference. Many control systems, from supply chains to neural timing, operate through inference, constantly estimating the present from the past. But recursive containment works differently. Instead of passively inferring a start state, the system encloses its present conditions and keeps them dynamically coupled to both past records and anticipated constraints. This makes the state inherently shaped by future pressure without requiring explicit prediction. Local interconnectedness and coherence. Because plenums have no void between them, any local coherence is also an intersection of multiple layers of influence. A neural timing loop is part of a biological plenum, which is part of a social plenum, which in turn is embedded in a planetary plenum. Coherence emerges from the interaction of all these, and change in one layer radiates through the others. Closing synthesis. The Plenum Field Conjecture reframes reality not as isolated events in empty space, but as a seamless, saturated field where every point contains structure, and every structure is a plenum. These plenums are locally coherent chunks of fullness, nested within one another and connected through both past and future pressures. Causality is not one way, but recursive, with each cycle transforming the conditions for the next. Systems hold their state not just by tracking history, but by containing themselves within ongoing relations that bridge timescales. In this view, coherence is never fixed. It is continually renewed at the meeting point of what has been and what could be,